I'm Kevin O'Connor. I work with a team at this old house that rebuilds old homes. I'm on a trip to meet another team. Most of them spent years volunteering to serve their country. Now, they volunteer to rebuild lives. When people run away from disaster, these are the men and women who run towards it. Their mission is to help the neediest. They call themselves Team Rubicon. On the night of March 24th, 2023, storm sirens erupted across Mississippi. A 90-mile string of tornadoes tore across the state, leaving a path of death and destruction in its wake.
The tornado was on the ground for an hour, and sadly, within that hour, it took over 20 lives, and it did damage like this. I mean, commercial buildings, residential buildings, completely destroyed.
Mobile homes down from me, totally obliterated.
It picked us up off the ground. We started turning. The top floorboard that you see is actually the part that we was in.
You and 5 others, and everybody's okay.
Yes.
If you look around, everybody's life has been destroyed within 24 hours. I'm sorry, guys.
Within hours, a small group of Team Rubicon gray shirts were on the ground to determine if TR could help the communities affected and where they should concentrate their efforts. Gray shirts Doc Brown and Kathy Castile headed up the first stages of TR's response. They started in the city of Rolling Fork.
We drove into Rolling Fork, Mississippi, to do what we call our recon process.
Our recon involves us coming out and saying, based on what we do, is there anything out here that would support us bringing gray shirts in?
In Rolling Fork, Mississippi, the damage is widespread and in every direction.
At that point, all of the media coverage of this tornado outbreak had been only on Rolling Fork. And due to that, pretty much every volunteer agency that I have ever seen in my entire life was in Rolling Fork. So we decided this is not the best place for Team Rubicon to be. The unmet needs are definitely elsewhere.
I joined Kathy and Doc as they searched for an area not being serviced.
So I get the sense that part of this is so that you can help sort of the command center figure out what to do down here in Mississippi. Tell me about that.
So the biggest part is, we're painting the picture.
How much of it is because you've got a really clear checklist? How much of it is from just your gut?
A little bit of both, the checklist and the gut thing. We do have a full paper checklist for recon and advon. A lot of it's your own personal judgment sometimes of this would take too long to get out here, or there's enough work out here that it would be beneficial.
Our recon led us 190 miles northeast to the town of Amory, where over 1,000 homes were seriously damaged.
When we came to Amory, it fell in our footprint where we can roof tarp, we can salvage tarp, we can muck out houses, we can do chainsaw operations, all that kind of stuff.
And we knew that this community had gotten hit pretty hard. And if Team Rubicon did not get involved, a lot of these people would have significant amount of unmet need.
The next task was to find a location for the Forward Operating Base, or FOB. It could be a community center, a gym, or maybe a church, which brought us to the Smithville Baptist Church. The congregation itself had firsthand experience with the devastation tornadoes can cause.
Yeah, in 2011, an EF5 tornado destroyed our campus. Half of the church building was leveled. I mean, it was gone. So really mission and disaster relief has become near and dear to our heart. as a result.
Pastor Gardner offered TR the outbuilding used for youth services.
Things we got to look at. Can we fit all the gray shirts in there? Where are we going to put the command staff? How many bathrooms? I know it sounds crazy, but for every one bathroom is 6 gray shirts. Does it have showers? No, we got to bring those in. Do we have a kitchen? If not, then we're going to have to cater food every day if the church wasn't willing to cook for us.
So I have shown up to some fobs early, like early setting up cots, but never this early. So I didn't realize all of this stuff went into when other gray shirts start coming. So
with the location for the fob identified, Doc and Kathy could make the case to their TR mission planning team that TR should launch an operation based in Amory.
We're looking at probably between 40, 45-ish tarp jobs, just that we saw driving through. Lots and lots of saw work. We have secured a fob location. It is at Smithville Baptist Church. The footprint is definitely large enough to support us.
They will give us whatever we need, but we don't want to overstep our bounds. I did let them know we'll leave this place better than we received it.
Thanks for the update.
Back in Mississippi, Team Rubicon has approved Doc and Kathy's proposed operation. The next step is to speak with local officials and get permission to work in the area.
We're grateful you're here, and thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting us in.
And just keep us informed. Anything we can do to help y'all, let us know as well, too.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Appreciate y'all.
As you can imagine, that kind of hospitality isn't out of the ordinary. And it comes from other volunteer organizations as well, like the Red Cross.
Our plan is currently to bring in 25 personnel.
Okay.
Can you support 25 cots currently?
Yes, I have them right here in the trailer. I'll be happy to provide you what you need.
Awesome, fantastic. Thank you so much for all your help and everything you're doing here.
I really appreciate it.
y'all.
Doc's real name is Corey Brown. She's one of the many remarkable people I met on Team Rubicon deployments.
All right, so this is what we call Doc's Down and Dirty Hemorrhage Control Refresher.
My first day as a swamper started with Doc's tourniquet lesson.
Say you slip, hit yourself with the chainsaw, right? We're gonna say that JD just cut half his leg off, okay? It's actually easier to just take this and go up the stump and then tighten. Put all of your weight on that, okay? It takes quite a bit of pressure to actually close off an artery. It's gonna hurt. They probably are gonna cuss at you, but you want that to happen, okay?
Doc comes from a family of military veterans.
For my 7th birthday, I asked for the Barbie Jeep. I got G.I. Joes and a Humvee, so it sort of was already determined that I would join in some way.
In the military, titles matter. In Afghanistan, she earned one that matters most to her.
Being Doc in the military it's special. You don't just walk into a unit and instantly be Doc. Like, your rank and last name until you prove that you can earn that title. It validates that you know what you're doing and that they trust you.
She took that trust seriously, administering aid to her fallen comrades, vowing to get everyone that she treated home safely.
Say they cut their belly open.
But the grim nature of war had other plans.
Our vehicle hit an IED. I was thrown out of my truck, sustained some pretty significant injuries, my back and my hip. I also sustained a pretty large traumatic brain injury.
Doc's injuries put her on permanent disability, which meant retiring her Army uniform in September 2012 after 5 years of service. Doc settled in Nebraska and eventually had 2 kids, but she continued to fight the physical and emotional wounds from her military service.
I did not have the support that I was told I would have once I got out. It took forever to get in with the VA. I was also given pretty much as much pain meds as I wanted due to the injuries and stuff that I was still dealing with. That led down a very scary road. My first marriage actually ended when I attempted suicide. I woke up in the hospital basically by myself and was told that we were done. I don't have a home to come home to. I had friends that would go grocery shopping for me. I had pretty much completely lost custody of my oldest daughter because I was a train wreck.
Doc tried everything she could to turn her life around, to be the parent she wanted to be. But she wasn't getting the support she needed in Nebraska. So Doc turned to her own mother for help and moved 1,500 miles to be with her.
So I've been in North Carolina since May of 2020, and I have been clean since the day I got here.
And with her mother's help, she found a new way to serve.
So basically, I found Team Rubicon sitting at my mom's house. So I was like, all right, whatever, I'll sign up, I'll check it out, see what it is. And it was exactly what it promised it was gonna be. My first deployment that was supposed to be 7 days ended up being like 18 or 19. But I think literally within the first probably 24 hours, I was like, all right, this is where I'm supposed to be at. Like, these are my people, and nobody's judging me for being a hot mess of a human being like I am.
It was through Team Rubicon that Doc met someone who she connected with instantly.
We were actually responding to Louisiana for a hurricane. We talked just like as Gracers get to know each other, and we found out we had similar pasts, similar struggles.
Jarrett is a member of the field leadership team at TR, often deploying as the incident commander.
Feel free to call us or just stop on by and we can troubleshoot.
Well, we were both in the Army. We both did multiple tours in the Middle East. We both have history with PTSD. We both lost a lot of friends in the military. I mean, I know that I joined Team Rubicon because I needed to find something that mattered again. I needed to sort of feel like I mattered again. And I mean, finding that with just Team Rubicon as a whole has been great. But then the whole unexpected side of Team Rubicon that became this is probably the best thing that could have happened out of it.
Now married, Jarrett and Doc together spend over 6 months a year wearing a gray shirt.
Welcome to Magnolia Spur Operational Period 1. Yeah, we have begun.
Tornadoes touch down in a number of cities and towns in Mississippi. Doc, Kathy, and other gray shirts are expanding TR's outreach to smaller towns, like Wren. In order to find out where their help is most needed, we visited their recovery headquarters at the local volunteer firehouse.
Yeah, we haven't had any sleep since Friday night.
Communities like Wren are dependent on volunteer first responders. In this county, there are 13 fire departments that cannot afford a full-time staff. They depend on neighbors, trained as medics and firefighters, to help in an emergency.
My name is Cheryl. Everybody here knows me as Granny. When the tornadoes first came through, everybody was in panic because we had people that were here at the firehouse that actually had hospital beds in the storm shelter. That's how scared they are, because this is really our third time that we've got hit here. And it's been, it's rough.
Everybody was hollering, tornado, tornado. I had other chiefs from other departments texting me maps and stuff in Mississippi of the tornado coming through. It got a lot worse than what we expected.
The Wren volunteer firefighters hunkered down inside the 2 storm shelters that are located at the firehouse while the tornado passed through.
We come out, we noticed that the power was off, so of course we went into rescue mode.
Once the firefighters mobilized, they drove their trucks into the ravaged neighborhoods. And when the wreckage blocked the road, they started searching for survivors on foot.
It may be 3 hours before you can get someone out.
Navigating through the cries for help coming from survivors and the mind-numbing destruction, firefighters searched for people in need of medical help. They discovered a family that was taken too soon.
We come across the family, the father and the baby didn't make it. My fiance He's kind of a new fireman. He's having a really hard time with it. He found the baby, and he said he wrapped the baby in a raincoat that he had on. He said he sat there and held that child and asking God, why? It's tough. It's tough being a volunteer firefighter.
You okay with me hugging you? Because I would like to.
That's your bathroom. That's what we're here for.
A lot of us are veterans, first responders. We've been there.
We feel like forgotten.
You're not forgotten.
We had people when we went out to Ren who told us nobody cared about them due to their socioeconomic status. And just to be able to come up to them and say, hey, we care, we're here, and we're not going anywhere. We're gonna help you. We are gonna take care of you. You're gonna do what we call the knock and talk. You're just gonna walk up to the homes, knock on the doors, talk to homeowners, tell them our capabilities.
Hey, gentlemen, how are you guys today?
Right there's the man you need to deal with.
Absolutely. Is that your house right there? Well, I drove by and I didn't see anybody. I was like, that's a roof we could tarp.
Homeowner Glenn Cunningham has owned this house for 22 years. He was out of town visiting friends when the tornado struck. And as I soon learned, he has a lot in common with the gray shirts of Team Rubicon.
What'd you think when you returned and saw this?
Blown away. I'm used to being opposite end of it, firefighting and stuff. Volunteer for over 30 years. It's hard to take in.
So you've seen this before as a volunteer fireman?
Yes, sir. Several times. Never my own place.
This is what I love about the whole knocking and talking thing. We happen to drive up to someone who's a volunteer firefighter. He's been helping other people and never been affected by anything. And now for the first time, he's been affected, and he's like, he didn't know where to go. He's not one to ask for help, and I get that.
The next step for Kathy is to send a survey team.
We're going to do a site survey on this property. My understanding is this is a first responder. The object is to gather as much information as possible so that we can send it back to Ops and the IC. The more information, the better.
Assisting first responders is a priority.
This is a full day of Saw 1 work. So we got a possible gas line, minor widow makers, miscellaneous debris, roof tarping. All right.
First responders are in service to their community and need to be fully mobilized in order to do their work.
Part of the site survey process is try to establish as much as possible what needs to be done, not necessarily how it's going to be done. I'm going to go around to the backside, take a couple of pictures, and then I'm ready to blaze.
Well, the knock and talk strategy really worked. Kathy put first responder Glenn at the top of TR's list, and a Sawyer team was at his door in a matter of hours. That level of coordination is key to TR's success. And it's gray shirts like Yesenia Lopez who helped make it happen. She's active duty in the Coast Guard and on her first operation with TR.
I was at a FEMA course for basic emergency management, and I sat down with a Team Rubicon staff member. I had asked him, oh, what do you do? And when he explained to me what it is, I was like, wow, that is actually completely amazing. Where do I sign up? And he was like, oh, here, I'll help you. And so he got me set up with it, and this is my first op, so I'm very excited to be here.
Yesenia joined Team Rubicon for the same reason she joined the Coast Guard, to develop useful skills and to be able to help people, like Glenn.
I believe Kathy knocked on your door and found you.
Yeah.
Were you familiar with Team Rubicon?
No, I was very surprised and very honored. My dad was retired Army, my brother Air Force, so a lot of family in the military.
Yeah. So what'd you think of the idea when she sort of explained it to you?
I loved it. I loved it, and if I ever get a chance, I'd love to volunteer and help too, so.
Yeah. Well, I think you're already doing that, so. And when you showed up today and saw some of these folks working on your property?
I had to take a deep breath. And just appreciate it. His prayers answered. I guess this is my time to get help back.
Well, this organization's got a saying that a gray shirt will show up on your worst day.
I thank y'all so much. I do. It's humbling.
Disasters can bring unfathomable chaos and destruction, what Team Rubicon deems as someone's worst day. But from that chaos comes compassion, and that worst day, it can bring out the best of humanity. As our work in Mississippi comes to a close, the team returns to the fob for one more night. Then, exactly 1 week after a deadly tornado rocked this small community, TR learns that the city of Amory is under threat of yet another tornado.
He just said that this tornado is a bigger debris field than Rolling Fork and Mayfield. And we all know what Mayfield and Rolling Fork look like.
Team leadership begins to closely monitor the storm.
Now we're in the middle of an alleged tornado coming our direction. It's supposed to be a pretty dangerous tornado. So, of course, gray shirt safety is of prime importance. All right, if you could all listen up, please. There's a serious tornado headed this way. We are in a 5 out of 5 likelihood of it hitting here. Doesn't mean it's going to. We know things change. But we're going to be prepared to respond to that.
The team makes plans to move our fob to a local shelter should the storm's threat increase.
We made bag lunches for everybody and grabbed some waters. The vehicles we know are already gassed up. I need everybody to pack a go bag with minimum essentials.
The call comes, the team will relocate to the local high school, 1 mile away, that doubles as the community's tornado shelter.
That high school was also leveled in 2011. And so when they rebuilt that high school, they built the dome very intentionally to serve as a community shelter, which I'm getting goosebumps talking about this place.
But do we have any kind of time estimate?
Right now, the worst part of the storm is 10 o'clock, likely possible back to 6 o'clock, which is 3.5 hours away.
Outside, a team of sawyers makes plans to shift from clearing debris from the last storm to clearing roads from yet another direct hit.
Our gear is not life-saving gear for the public, but it might be if it entails us opening the roads to allow first responders, emergency vehicles of any kind in. We're just trying to anticipate the worst and hope for the best.
Good to go.
Forecasting tornadoes is not an exact science, so the predicted path of the storm is constantly changing. By evening, it appears that Amory may be spared this time around.
It's looking like it's not going to come to us. So it's looking like it's tracking on a line from Memphis up to Tennessee. So, say a little something for those people.
The gray shirts retire for the night, grateful for some well-earned rest. Then, just after 2 a.m., as most of the team is asleep, the threat is back.